Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this meeting of the Florida Board of Health. My name is Thomas Corey, Dr. Stephen Gagliardi, Donna Strong. We'd like to welcome Dr. Gagliardi. This is his first meeting. Welcome to the board.
Thanks.
Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. We have to approve the minutes of the meeting from November 20th. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to be made to the minutes of the meeting as printed?
I did not see any.
You have to make the motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting from November 20th, 2019.
And I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Roger, are you presenting on the next one, the request for variance for chickens?
Yes.
Come on down. Mr. and Mrs. DeCruz, come on down.
Oh, that's DeCruz, that's
Oh.
Souza.
Okay,
Landlord renties.
okay, very good.
That's you, David. Your
We
landlord.
can get you one more chair.
That's all right.
Okay. Roger, if you would.
Okay. We have a variance request for chickens at 47 Carter Street. I've sent out 4 abutters letters. I have received 1 opposition.
Okay.
Okay? I visited the property last week. There was some goings on over there. I guess they're doing some clean outs in the house. So there was a few things hanging around. I do believe they've already got a contract with a exterminator. I just need the copy of that contract.
Okay.
Other than that, everything looks good.
How many chickens are we discussing?
I do believe it's 4.
4.
4
That's not even a dozen a week. Eggs, I mean.
eggs.
Did you get any other letters, or you just got one letter? And
I didn't even get a letter. I got a call. I didn't even receive the call. Someone in my office received it. And
But
an
no other
opposition.
comments from
Nope.
the others?
No, as far as I know, no.
Okay, so 4 chickens is what we're looking at this point? We're not going to have 2 dozen at Easter time for chicks or anything like that?
No roosters?
Nope.
Absolutely no roosters?
Nope. I don't want to hear it either.
Okay. Well, our usual conditions is the number of chickens, and if you're setting it at 4, that's reasonably agreeable, 4 chickens?
Yep.
We usually don't go above 8, so 4 is perfect.
Yep.
We have the rodent contract, or we'll have proof of the rodent contract.
Yep, that's what I'm going to need is
And
a...
Roger, you say the property is clean and no evidence of anything, or?
No, they've got traps out, but that's probably from the extermination.
Okay. Any questions? It looks kind of a straightforward. So you would recommend?
I would recommend, yes.
Okay.
I don't have an issue.
Who wants to make the motion to?
Make the motion to accept.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
Very
Good
good.
luck.
Thank you very much.
Easy enough.
Thank you, Roger.
Wow, that was quick.
Yep,
Go back to school.
Can I bring the original?
Donna said so. We gotta
And
listen.
you can have that for now, until I come back, because I was supposed to print it out, but our sister wasn't there.
Okay.
So, and I don't have a printer.
All right.
So I'm gonna bring the original, but he has a picture of the contract.
Okay.
So,
Okay, next we have a summary of House Bill 4196, Enact Modernized Tobacco Control. Seth, you're reporting for us today?
Yes, sir.
You're going to digest that whole thing, which I spent 2 hours reading?
I know, I read
It's
it.
like, it must be like reading nursing regulations and pharmacy regulations. Okay, give us the bad news first.
Okay. The bad news is it's a very big bill,
Yes.
so there's a lot of pieces to go through. Just to start, the main piece of this legislation is the restriction of products and the increased penalties. Those are the biggest pieces of the bill, in my opinion. To start, with vaporizer products, Governor Baker declared the emergency in September. That ended on December 11th, and then retailers were allowed to sell vaporizer products again, only non-flavored products. So classic tobacco, traditional tobacco, and when they actually specify classic non-flavored vaporizer products. Additionally, convenience stores and adult-only retailers are able to sell vaporizer products with a nicotine concentration of 35 milligrams per milliliter and under. Upon my inspections, I'm asked for that notice from a manufacturer that the products available for purchase at that location meet those requirements. Adult-only retail tobacco stores, they're allowed to sell any concentration, 35 milligrams per milliliter and up. They're the only ones that meet that exemption. The ban of flavored traditional tobacco products like cigars, cigarettes, chewing tobacco, snuff, the flavor ban starts June 1st, 2020. So no more Newports, anything that contains menthol, even in the big rolling tobacco bags. Anything that was green, basically, that you see is gone by June 1st. That brings us to the increased penalties. So with the increased penalties, it applies only to the flavored products, so having them in the store available for purchase or sales to minors. For the first offense, it starts at $1,000 rather than the $100. For a second offense within 36 months, somebody sells to a minor, for example, it goes up to $2,000 within 36 months of that first penalty. And then the Board of Health has the right to prohibit the sale of tobacco products for at least 1 to 7 days. That'd be up to you guys.
That's with the second offense, or?
That's with the second offense.
Okay.
We have the right to prohibit them. If they're repeat offenders, it's common for boards to say you're prohibited from selling for at least a week. In the case of a third violation within 36 months of that second violation, it goes up to $5,000, and a prohibition on the sale of tobacco products at that location can be imposed for 1 week to 30 consecutive business days. The Public Health Council is meeting to discuss that prohibition, ceiling and floor. And if there's any changes to how it's written now, we'll be notified by the Massachusetts Tobacco Cessation and Prevention Program. And as it stands, for violators, there's 7 days to appeal, 21 days to pay the ticket, and tickets that we issue because they're higher penalties will be delivered with a Board of Health correction order, which I have right here if you guys want to see that.
At least I think $1,000 is more of a deterrent than $100, because I don't think that would deter anybody.
Yeah, 100.
Well,
Would you guys like to see this?
sure.
Yes.
In the old days, they had to face the wrath of the board on the second visit.
That's just a
Just your basic,
public health correction order, yeah.
okay. At $1,000, I don't think you're going to have many second violators.
In New Bedford, they've had 2 second violators already. But here in Fall River, everybody is compliant with the laws so far. They haven't had any issues yet. People are paying attention to what's happening
Well,
right now.
yeah, and I remember a couple of years ago when the FDA was doing the local inspections and they had the $1,000 tickets. That brought a lot of our locals, even with our efforts, that brought a lot of the locals into line.
The FDA violations go all the way up to over $11,000 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get really high. There's new required signage by all retailers as well. For adult-only retail tobacco stores, at the edge of the building, they have to put up these notices upon entry. So usually on the door or somewhere near the entrance.
Are we providing the signs, or is the state providing the signs?
The state makes the signs through Mass Clearinghouse. I order them, they're free.
Okay.
And every time I do an inspection, regardless if I've already been to the location, I bring extra signs to make sure that they're up. The convenience stores and non-adult only have 3 new signs. They're the summation of MGL Chapter 270, Section 6 and 6A, which is what we just went over with the new penalties. The sale of flavored e-cigarettes is prohibited at this location, and the warning about e-cigarettes, e-valet, the lung injuries. They're all paper right now. Unfortunately, Clearinghouse hasn't come up with the sticker ones yet. That's what these ones look like. So pretty soon they'll be like colored and actually be able to stick on the sides. Since enacted, the #1 question I get from retailers is, do I meet the exemption to sell flavored and menthol products? Or how do I become a smoking bar? In Fall River, we've banned smoking bars. but the concern is with the adult-only retail tobacco establishments. I suspect that it will create a lot of confusion because adult-only retail tobacco establishments set up seating areas, ashtrays, basically encouraging people to use the products inside. And the Massachusetts smoke-free workplace law wrote out an exemption for them that they are able to smoke inside to sample premium products, but that's not really how it's being used. People will just buy a pack of Newports, light up while they're still paying. I've seen it before during my inspections. And they, under the smoke-free workplace law, meet that exemption. But I think it's going to create more issues amongst retailers, especially considering the amount of calls I get about this exemption. Like, I have, this is, for example, I have couches here and ashtrays set up and people hang out and smoke here. How come I'm not registered as a smoking bar? It's because they don't have the special license from the Department of Revenue, and the local board has banned smoking bars here in Fall River. But I suspect that it will be more of an issue because of this gray area and because they're navigating this gray area already. So
How many adult smoke shops do we have now?
we had 14, and then by January, it went down to 12. 2 people have closed.
Do they have to have specialized ventilation systems to clear the smoke?
No, and that's another issue with this too, is that we're not, with this exemption, people are smoking inside these establishments, and the smoke and aerosol can seep into their neighbors upstairs, depending on how large the building is that they're connected. The majority of towns that have adopted a complete ban on smoking in these adult-only retail tobacco establishments banned it for that exact reason, because they're not provisioned to be a freestanding building, which I think is a problem that people are doing it to begin with. But rather than do a complete ban, people are starting to look into if it's possible to condition the state law that adult-only retail tobacco stores can only have smoking if they are a freestanding building. No neighbors, no connections.
Can they smoke outside?
No. No.
They can't buy it and go out once they leave, they can't?
If it's public property, yes, but if it's on their property and they're outside and it's near the neighbors, no. But they can smoke inside under the smoke-free workplace law, which is, I think, is an issue because they're smoking indoors, and we're in a pretty congested area, so I doubt that the majority of these places are actually freestanding.
We had a situation years ago with some of the private clubs in Florida with the smoking indoors.
And that's when the ban on smoking lounges, and they were kind of, again, navigating a gray area where they were paying a membership fee to get into a club to be able to use a hookah. So they were trying to manipulate
The
it.
12 places that we have in the city, how many of them are freestanding?
One.
So there's 11 places that are causing problems for their neighbors potentially.
Potentially, yes. I have a muni list right here of the places that have banned already, and it's 25% of the state's population has banned smoking inside adult-only retail tobacco establishments.
Any chance the state legislature will take this up?
I do not
Put the blame
believe.
on them?
I do not believe so, but it's
Okay.
definitely something to consider. Looking further into.
Okay.
I have no problem taking blame for not allowing people to smoke. I'm one of those.
Mm.
No, I don't mind.
It's just easier sometimes if it comes from the top down.
Yeah.
Because many of the retailers who have been here for different occasions,
Oh,
well, if it was done across the whole state, it would be okay with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I mean, if the state legislature or the Department of Public Health issue the regulations, it means we can step back a bit and not take. a
Like
lot
when
of-
Governor Baker helped us out?
Yeah, when Governor Baker helped us out, yes.
Mhm.
So
I did-
It's not passing the buck, but it's easier, because as a small businessman also, I understand their concerns, you know, they have what is theoretically a legal product. And as long as they meet all these regulations, they should be able to sell it without being, hassle is not the right word that I want, but without being,
Oversight.
without the heavy oversight, yeah.
Right.
So anything the governor could do for us or the state legislature is always appreciated in this field.
Well, the Public Health Council is meeting on February 12th, and I expect that they'll have some new information for us then.
Very good. Okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions for Seth? All right, Seth, thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you.
Keep up the good work. I didn't announce at the beginning of the meeting, but Tess, the agent of the board, is not with us today. She's attending another meeting with the state on another issue. As far as I know, there was no new business to come before the board of such a nature that it couldn't make the agenda. For the record, let it show that other than Seth, there is no one in the crowd for citizens' input time. There was a communication, there was a letter from the department, an FDA compliance notice, simply addressed that they had some inspections, and there were 2 vendors found to be in violation. Red's Quick Zone on Broadway and the 7-Eleven on William Canning Boulevard. I think the 7-Eleven is out by the, as a reference point, by the marijuana shop out on the boulevard. So that is noted. We're supposed to confirm a date for the next meeting. I know Tess had contacted me, Dr. Gagliardi, you would be able to make meetings later in the day?
Yeah, normally this would be a tough time.
Okay, what, is there a particular day that's better for you?
Wednesdays and Fridays are better.
Okay.
Like maybe Wednesday at 4, I don't know if that's good.
Wednesday at 4 would be fine.
That's
Generally,
fine with me. I'm
Gen-
semi-retired.
generally, we use the last Wednesday of the month, but we'll have to confirm that with Tess.
Okay.
She will confirm with an email, but we'll go with the last Wednesday of the month, which would be the 26th of February. I don't have my calendar with
Yes.
me. It's also Ash Wednesday that day, but 4 o'clock. That sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, seeing none. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Thank you all. Have a great day.